Hello everyone and welcome to our video today. My name is Lizzie Harrison and I am the editor of HQ Magazine, and today I'm chatting to Shari Michaelis. We're here at Lavender Stud where she stables her wonderful horse, Tack and Tog's Cupidor. And we're here really to hear the story of Cupidor. Well, the last few years have been tricky for Cupidor. He came in, he was wonderfully successful as a show jumper, and Shari's an experienced open show jumper herself. And then he had an injury about 3 years ago now, and after which he was basically told that without major surgery that hadn't been performed in South Africa before, he was going to, well, never be able to jump again, essentially. And yeah, it's a lovely story because for those who've seen Cupidor on the competition scene recently, you'll know that he's definitely jumping again. So yes, welcome Shari.
Thanks.
And Halo. And today, I just want to talk through the story with you. So if you could start at the beginning and sort of tell us a bit about Cupidor and the story of how it's all come about.
I got Coop in 2016, and I competed in a few 130s, and I think we did our first 150s in the September of that year at Revel. And he was going really well, and then I got married in Jan 2018, and I was training with Anne-Marie Essling at the time at Burlington, and while I was overseas she rode him and competed him and did exceptionally well with him. She won a Grand Prix at Revel and a few 140 classes, a championship. She did really well with him, and I came back from my travels, I think it was about end of November 2018. And he was about to do Burlington Cup the next week, and I was coming to watch him, and I was still going to ride him. Obviously, I hadn't ridden in a few months, and he went lame. And we thought it was a hoof abscess at first, and we treated it as such for the first 6 weeks, and he just never got better. And he was never really he was never crippled though, he was just mildly lame.
Yeah.
And eventually then I sent him for some scans and x-rays. He had a CT scan. And that's where they found the fracture in his pedal bone in his right front. And obviously it was devastated. You think like this horse has only had him for 2 years, you're going to jump in the 150s. And that's what I'd planned the next year to compete him the whole year, So he was at Burlington for a few months, maybe 2 months after he was, told what happened. And all the vets here, the 2 vets that did the scan and the vet at Ornesteport and 2 vets I consulted overseas, also that in order for him to resume the same level of competition and what he'd been doing before, he had to have this op. And it was a risky op, and as I said, the vets in South Africa hadn't performed it before, but they said, we can try. I thought, using my horse as a guinea pig kind of thing. But it was what it was, and I don't know, I just had a really bad feeling about the op. Yeah. And even though all these vets, 3 here and 2 overseas, said you have to have this off, otherwise he's never going to jump again. I don't know, I just had a bad feeling. So very luckily my husband's family has a farm in Hoedspruit, and I had then at that stage as well, some retired horses there and a wonderful stable manager. So I thought to myself, why don't I just let him be turned out and stabled and looked after, but just be a horse for a year. But it was risky because he'd never been anywhere like that before. He'd been overseas, and then he'd been at Burlington, which is a controlled environment, and then there's snakes and holes in the ground and all sorts of things that could have gone wrong. But I thought, what did I really have to lose? I couldn't ride him anyway, and I thought, let me just see what happens. If it doesn't work, it's only a 5-hour drive. I can bring him back, after a week, worst case. So I took him there, and we started off with him in a very small paddock. We built him like a stable-sized paddock, and he was very stressed out. And I thought, if I'd done the right thing, the horse is going to die. Snake's going to eat him or something. But anyway, we moved him to the lunge ring where he used to buck and play around. And then Kate, my stable manager, said to me, he's stressed, can we not just put him in a slightly bigger paddock or let him have a friend? I said, absolutely not. No friends, no bigger paddock. You've got to keep him just like us. And anyway, then I left, and I think she kind of did her own thing. And when I came back the one day, I think she sent me a video, and he was galloping around this big field with his little Arab friend, a little mare, jumping over hedges. And I was like, oh my God, Kate, he's going to die. He's never going to get better. But then gradually after I think it was August eventually, I said to her, do you think I should? He was fine, he loved it there, and he stopped windsucking. Just really happy. Also, he was out from 8 till 4, compared to being out for 1 hour a day at all these other big stable yards,
Yeah.
So I said to her, do you think I can get on and ride him? And she said, well, he's trotting sound in the paddock. He gallops around, he jumps over hedges. You know, what's the worst that can happen? He'll be lame and, you know, well. So I got on him, and I think it was about the August to the December, so 4 months. And every time I went to the farm, I'd get on him and walk him around.
Yeah.
And I think, it was about the December, I said to James, my husband, I said, won't you video Coop trotting along? We don't have an arena at the farm. So the only flat piece of like ground is in the garden. So I brought him up to the garden and I said to him, please video Coop trotting in the garden because I want to see if he's sound or not. He felt great, but the minute he finished, I said, well, give me the video. I want to see if he's sound. And I've still got the video and he looked great. And then I said to Nikki, well, let me bring him. We were going there for Christmas that year. So I said, let me spend the holidays with him and then in Jan we'll bring him back. And I brought him to Lavender Hill in the Jan of 2020.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was the year of COVID. And I started riding him here, and I said to Nikki, every ride, I thought, you know, who knows what will happen? Will he go tomorrow? Will he go another day?
Yeah.
But I did a program like you would for a horse that had a tendon.
Yeah.
So very slow. I mean, it took maybe 4 or 5 months just to get him cantering again, you know.
Yes.
It was a slow program. And I think by the June or July I was cantering, he got into a few lessons and we decided to take him to a show. He did a meter at Burlington and he won.
Yeah.
Galloped around so fast, he was so excited and he won the class.
Yeah.
And then since then he'd, you know, we kind of, I did a few show end of classes last year.
Yeah.
And he got up to 130 and he's been good.
Yeah, and those who've seen him competing can say he's definitely been very good.
Yeah, it's been very exciting. So I actually think it's funny, but I think he's been jumping better now than he ever did before. I don't know why, maybe he's just happier horse.
Yeah.
He's more chilled, he's not so anxious, he's more relaxed. Nikki always says to me, oh, it's because he knows you really put in the effort and cared for him, so he's now trying to say thank you and jumping nicely. But and then he did his first 135s back, was it at Easter this year?
Yeah, it was Easter, yeah.
Yeah, and he was second in both qualifiers, highest qualifier, and then won the champs.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah,
he literally flew around that course. Yeah,
and he was that was a very special win because it was his first big win since he'd been back. And even up until then, I still, even now, I mean, I've got a bit better, but I still think to myself, is he going to go another week? Is he going to go another show? Like, how do I know how long he's got? I make all these plans. Oh, I want to jump a 150 at Revel. Who knows if he'll,
Yeah.
So it was a special one, but I think he was telling me he's fine.
No, I think he was definitely telling you he's fine.
He's in a few other shows until he'll do his 140s. Actually, tomorrow at Burlington we're going to do 140.
Oh, nice.
So let's see.
Again. Yeah.
His first 140 in like 3 years.
And then your next show after that?
Is the Chongweni World Cup in Durban. Yeah.
Okay, and will that be 140?
Yeah,
if tomorrow,
I think if tomorrow's good, then I'll keep him 140 for that show and then see how we go. But I'm not so pressured anymore. I've been jump 150 with him and Ari. Yeah. I'd love to do it again and, maybe one day on another horse even. But if Coop jumps a few now, then he does. If he doesn't, it doesn't matter. Yeah. I just want to keep him happy and sound. And I don't want to, there's no point in breaking him. He's come so far.
Yeah. So. And your bond with him is really special. Like, it's really nice to see.
I think we even, because he was always quite grumpy before. Before I went to the farm, he was could go into his stable, but if you had a treat, he'd be fine. He'd try to bite and kick. He wasn't the friendliest. But I think being at the farm really relaxed him, and he got a friend, and Kate spent a lot of time, grooming him. And we have a groom there, but he doesn't really groom the horses. So Kate really put in the effort. And I think, he became friendlier. And now, you can go up and he still puts his ears back. But you can kiss him and cuddle him, and he's a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he's more grateful.
Maybe that's it. But he's certainly, you two have a special bond, the two of you.
We do. Yeah. He's a special horse. And
he's definitely a special horse.
He's similar to Ari a little bit. Ari always said was my heart horse, but maybe Coop's just coming there too.
It's sneaking in as well.
Sneaking. Yeah. Him and Ari, actually, Ari's sire's Heartbreaker.
Okay.
Coop's grandsire's Heartbreaker. So they're actually related. And that was when I went to try Coop in Europe with Anna. And I'd been to a whole lot of stables and I didn't like any of the horses. And Coop was in the last stable. And she said to me, come on, Charlotte, we've been everyone else has got 4 choices. You don't even have one. And I said, Anna, I know what I want. When I see the horse I want, I'll know.
You'll know. Yeah.
And we went with two other of her pupils. And I remember the one called Marisol was videoing me as soon as I got on Coop. And I think it was the first, I'd trotted him around 2 circles, and you can hear me say on the video, this is the horse, Sally, this is the one I want. So like I knew before I'd even jumped him, you know.
Yeah, you knew.
So yeah.
No, it's wonderful, and it's it's important. I think for people to hear the story as well.
All the other two who came with us, they came back with like 4 choices, having 4 horses vetted. I had this one horse, and Anna was like, "What if he's not the right? What if his vetting fails?" I'm like, "Oh well, then we'll see." But
but it's him.
The only one, so it was.
No, that's wonderful.
I always had this link, like Ari's, not really Ari's cousin, Ari's brother.
No, but
they were related, and it was cute. So Ari's now at the farm, so he's
nice. So he's happy and retired, and he's now galloping around and jumping hedges.
Yeah, we don't even put Ari in a paddock at the farm. Yeah, just loose. It's like a free range.
Well, that's lovely.
Yeah, and obviously when Cooper, retires, we'll send him back there. So it's nice.
Well, thank you so much for telling us the story today, because I think it's really nice to hear like you stuck with it, you persisted, and the slow work, that like rehab bit that is so difficult to stick with when it's months and months, and like you say, months and months before
and
you can even canter.
And the break of COVID in between.
Well, of course, lockdown and all those breaks, it can be difficult to keep the motivation going and keep going when you don't know what the ending's going to be.
And Barry's helped me as well to
absolutely
keep him slow and not rush anything.
Yeah, and what does Barry think?
He loves Coop. He always says to me, such a great horse, he's such a wonderful horse, I'm so lucky to have him, and I am, but he always says to me, Coop knows how to jump. We don't need to jump him a lot. You just come, we go to a lesson and we'll do like maybe 10 jumps, and he's like, put him away, leave him, it's fine. And I always feel I need more practice.
but Coops doesn't.
Coop doesn't. So he's been good to help me manage the expectations and to keep him sound. And he knows Barry's so experienced.
Yeah.
He knows, how to keep the horses sound. He always says to me, I know how to keep horses sound, just trust me. I said, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It was and Nikki as well has helped rehab Coop tremendously. She's been
wonderful, and having him here,
yeah, and she really cares for all the horses, and I think Coop was also special to her because of his story.
Yeah.
And Nikki and I've known Nikki since I was very young.
Okay.
Like 16. So and then I was stayed here for a while with a few ponies.
Yeah.
And then I left and I came back 4.5 years ago. Yeah. 4 years ago. Yeah.
No,
and I brought Ari back to retire here, and then I found Callie here. And and then Coop came here.
Yeah, so we do have to ask, do you have other horses coming up?
Yeah, so I've been riding at the moment. Nikki has a mare, Christy, who jumped in the 135s with James White.
Oh, nice.
And then Barry rode a bit last year as well. And he won quite a few 130s with her. So I've taken over the ride from this year. And she's very different to Coop. She's a lot colder, although she likes to move on around the course. You've got to like a bit of a blur. She's really quick, but she's a bit colder than Coop just in how she goes. So it's taken me a bit of time to get used to her, but she just won the 120 champs at Rio Net World Cup, so that was nice.
Yeah.
And I'll take her up to her first 130s for her and I together in the next few weeks.
No, it's been wonderful having you, and we'll definitely have you again.
A lot of people know Coop's story because I've also a lot of people from Instagram followed him before, and then they saw what happened to him and everything. And he obviously was here and jumping in the 150s before this happened, so people knew about him.
People knew, yeah.
Yeah, they obviously knew me from Aries, so it was, a lot of people have followed him.
No, well, it's nice to hear it told by you.
I've had some nice, really positive. I mean, you know how the horse industry can be. People sometimes aren't that nice.
Yeah.
But people have been really nice and supportive and encouraging.
Yeah.
And
no, I don't think you can fail to be. It's nice to see the two of you competing, and you're obviously both loving it.
Yeah, no,
that's the
thing.
To
have him back, and he's as I said, he's jumping better now than he did before. So I don't know why. I don't know if he's just feeling better. He's happier. He's more relaxed
and stronger with, like you said, with the consistency.
He's jumping better now. I mean, if I watch videos from, not that he was, I mean, he's just to win and do well then, but he just looks better. I don't know.
Yeah, everything is coming together. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today. It's been, I think it's a nice story for readers to hear, and
it's an encouraging story, and it is like a miracle, really. I think.
Yeah.
So as I said, I mean, a lot of people whose horses have a fractured pedal bone, they can't do that. I don't know. It's not the same situation or whatever, but for him it worked,
and the outcome's been wonderful.
Yeah, it has been. So long may it last.
Yes, exactly. Long may it last. Thanks, Shari.
Thanks, Lucy.
Okay.
Thank you.